All right, this is Comedy Catch Up. So is it 7? I think. So this one today we're just gonna cover Chris D'Elia. Congratulations, pod. I'm gonna go over some of last week's stuff because there was some overlap. So 104 and 105, which was today. But depending on whenever I upload this, but 104, 105. Just because last week there was a lot of good stuff and I didn't make a video because I suck. But also, he talks about some of what he talked about last week in this one today. So I figured that it's still kind of relevant and worth talking about still. One of the things that's interesting about trying to whenever I want to make videos for this podcast, I always have a hard time because I'll write down some notes to try to just write down like some talking points of things that caught my attention during the podcast, things I found funny or things I find annoying or just whatever, just things that stand out. And it seems like I'm always writing down notes that are like calling out Chris for complaining about shit. Like, because it's always like mundane, dumb shit. But I don't know, that's his style, right? And so I have a hard time, like, because it's weird, because like I love this podcast. It's probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite podcast, I'd say. Oh, and then Chris is also one of my favorite comedians, but the podcast, like, it just kind of is a little bit like, it'll be like kind of grinding sometimes where basically, it's like Chris just has like that archetype of pick a topic and then complain about it for an hour. And that's basically, like that's his stand-up and that's the podcast. It's pick some topic that seemed to be on his mind during the week and then talk about how dumb that topic is, that activity, the sport, the object, the thing, whatever it is, and so like this week it was DirectTV and he he goes on a rant for like half the episode about DirectTV and the issues he's having with getting a new cable box. And it's like, the issue is that he's trying to get a couple more cable boxes or satellite boxes, whatever, put into his house. Not that it doesn't work. It's not that, he's having issues with anything service-wise. It's just, he just wants more boxes. And so it's kind of a mundane, trivial issue that you're having. But he just explodes with anger in this whole thing. He made this Instagram post of him rapping about how angry he is about like the customer service, and then goes on this huge rant about the customer service. It's like, we all get it. We know, we all know how bad customer service is. Everyone seems to have dealt with this for their entire life, except Chris, I guess, until this last week. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Go to Comcast and see how bad it is. You think DirectTV is bad? Holy shit. But I don't know. It's so funny, but then also like, what are you complaining about? Because for one, you don't really have a job. So what are you doing all day anyways? Like, you can sit around and wait for them to show up because that's all you were doing anyways, is sitting around and waiting for them to show up. Like, your life is so easy. This is the worst thing going on in your life. It's not that bad, Like, I think we all wish that DirectTV support people not showing up to your house or whatever is the worst thing you have going on in your life to complain about. All that being said, of course, he makes it hilarious and explodes with this clip here, which was so funny.
Record them for fucking purposes. Go in there, see what the fucking problem is. Are you coming Thursday? No confirmation email. I say, check my fucking account. I'm at dinner with my fucking family. Check my fucking account.
Okay. You can play the whole thing and it's funny. I'm sure they'll put a clip up, obviously, considering this took up like half of the episode. But I don't know. And then also, they were talking about this stupid ass thing that happened with some guy riding on a car or whatever. I don't know. But, like, Juan fired. What's going on with the screen here? Because where'd Chris go? Like, can you not take up the whole screen to show the video clip? I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? But anyways, once he finishes talking about DirectTV and how hard his life is trying to get another cable box in his bedroom, he goes back to talk about Colorado, where he did some shows last week, I guess. Or I guess maybe it would have been 2 weeks ago when he did the shows and the podcast. I'm not sure. Whatever. But last week he talked about it at length. This week not quite as much. About just like people, just kind of like how soft people are in Colorado. Like that go to his shows and are like getting upset about the jokes he's making. And yeah, I don't get it. It's like, why the fuck do people pay to go see him and then get upset? It's not like he's some no-name comic that nobody's heard of. He's headlining these shows. Like, look him up. He's got specials out there on Netflix, and Comedy Central. Not to mention, he's got this podcast that he does every week that's an hour long that you could look at. Like, do these people not know who he is? You know, it's like, I don't know. It doesn't make any kind of sense. Like, you spent all this money to go see a comic just to be pissed off for an hour. Like, why would you do that? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. You know, I could understand if you're going to, like, open mic, and when you go to open mics, you don't know what you're going to see. A lot of people suck at open mics. But, yeah, it's like this guy, you know what his material is like. And I think he's even still doing the same material that he did with his special or whatever. I've seen people complaining online about that. I don't know, whatever. I'm not going to comment on that. But so it sounds like his material that he's doing at these shows is already out there on Netflix anyways. It's part of that new special with the comedians around the world. So yeah, I don't know. That's weird that you would spend money. And just for kind of like an example, last week he mentioned Shane Smith he performed with in Colorado, and said he was, you know, a funny guy, whatever. He mentioned another person or maybe a couple other people as well. And last weekend I was looking for things to do with me and my girlfriend on the weekend, and I had noticed that Shane Smith was now here in Seattle and was doing some shows. And I was like, oh, cool, I'll buy tickets. Chris said he was a funny guy. He was a funny comic. And then I was like, wait a second, I should probably look up his material before I go and buy these tickets, because I've never heard of him before. I was just going to buy tickets based solely on Chris's recommendation, which is kind of dumb. You know, I mean, like, you expect, like, okay, he's a comic, so, you know, he would know. And so I pulled up a clip, and I thought it was all right. You know, I laughed a few times. I thought it was pretty good. Not like, well, I wasn't like dying, you know. I wasn't like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Then I had my girlfriend watch a clip to see if she would like him. She said she didn't laugh at all. She didn't like it. So that was it. We didn't go. And it's like, that's all. It's not to say that Shane Smith isn't a good comic. I thought he was pretty funny. Not really the best. Like, I don't really like his delivery, but who knows? It's shit on YouTube. Like, that could be old material. You never really know when it's just like stand-up material on YouTube, because it's not always like attributed right for when it was filmed. But yeah, I mean, it's like, do that. Why wouldn't you just do that before you spend? I mean, like, tickets to go see Shane were like $20, right? That's not that big of a deal. Tickets to go see Chris, way more expensive. Probably like, I think they're at least like $50. I don't remember what it was like when he came here. I can't remember because I couldn't go that weekend anyways. But yeah, it's like, why would you not look that up beforehand? Like, before you spend all this money on tickets, because you're probably not buying just one, right? You're buying one for you and one for your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, husband, wife, or just friend, you know. It's like, you're going to spend all that money and then go and then be pissed off because he's making fun of something that you like, you know. Like, all the shit he makes fun of is like dumb shit too. It's not like, it's never anything really that personal, you know. It's like a couple weeks ago, like, he was making fun of skiing. Like, what, are you gonna get upset because he's talking shit about skiing? Like, who the fuck cares? Like, yeah, it's dumb, but it's also funny. Like, I don't know, it's like, he's always been an offensive comic. Like, if you watch any podcast, anything he does, everything he says is like an offensive kind of thing. It's always like trash talking, basically. it's never like, I don't know. I don't really know how to describe other people who are just like, oh, let me just point out this thing, and it's like clean comedy, you know? Like, who's that bread guy that's always on Joe Rogan that people love? Papa something the fuck. I don't know. He's really not funny, but he's like clean comedy. You know, it's like totally opposite. Who cares? But yeah, people are fucking stupid. Why would you spend money to go see a well-known comic that you don't even like? Should stop talking about that. But I was thinking, like, that's probably why comedy in Seattle is so bad, because Boulder is like Seattle light. It's like all the terrible shit of just like weak ass people here is just like what it is in Boulder, because it's also like another really like soft as fuck group of people, like mostly tech workers and shit too. It's that whole same kind of like vibe, I guess. It's like Seattle, and comedy here sucks. It's so bad. Oh man, you go to open mics and it's just like, it's so fucking terrible. It's like, you might as well just go read fucking posts on Tumblr. It's the exact same. It's spoken Tumblr. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? I thought this was kind of funny. Chris getting his little flex on with.
What the fuck is going? Did I eat spinach before this? What happened? What happened?
Chris is
dude.
Like, okay,
screenshot it up, lads.
All right, so this is from last week.
It's fucking
he's
on.
Like, talking about how he still buys all of his clothes at H&M. Like, first of all, if you fit in clothes from H&M, you're really small. I haven't been able to fit in H&M clothes for a long time. And if you're gonna flex on camera, you need to be at least that tall to ride. I'm sorry, Chris. But you can't be flexing on YouTube if you're that small. And then last week, he didn't mention it this week, but last week he shouted out, they have a subreddit for the Congrats Pod. And I checked it out, and it's pretty dead. There's not really a whole lot of activity. I thought maybe it'd be, I was kind of excited. I thought maybe it'd be pretty good. Chris also apparently doesn't know what Reddit is, which is weird because I'm pretty sure he's done the AMA things on there before. But okay, I don't know, whatever. But luckily the subreddit, it's not anything like the Fighter and the Kid one, where it's just like everybody is just extremely fucking toxic and hates everybody. If you ever, maybe, I don't know, maybe a lot of people just don't go on there and they get everything through Instagram, which is weird to me because that's like the worst way possible to consume content. But yeah, it's pretty dead. Hopefully it kind of livens up. Hopefully he kind of gives it more shout outs. I'd really like to see it become more of a community and see a lot more people getting in, just doing more like this kind of stuff, like just discussing the podcast and discussing just funny shit he says and whatnot. I mean, that's why I do this, is just, I just want a way to discuss the podcast with other people and talk about just funny shit that everybody else is talking about on there. So yeah, I don't know. I hope it grows. I hope he shouts it out some more so that it gets more people. And I really hope it doesn't turn into what the Fighter and the Kid is like, because that one is really bad. It's so toxic. Also, so is the Joe Rogan one, but it's probably also because those two have like the exact same user base. I don't think I feel like Chris is kind of not on that same with like Your Mom's House. I don't think that they have overlap, but I don't think as much going on. But who knows? I mean, because he's always on the Fighter and the Kid podcast, so who knows? But yeah, that's all. Not a whole lot really to talk about. I was going to talk about some misconnection stuff, but it's really more of kind of like me. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of misconnections. I wish he would bring back most fucked up Instagram post of the week. I thought that was a way better segment. And also doing Twitter questions too. He doesn't really do Twitter questions much anymore. They even talked about it in the one this week. They said, oh, we have both. We have Twitter questions and we have misconnections. And they went with misconnections instead of Twitter posts. Like, who the fuck cares? The misconnections are the same every week. Some dude trying to get jerked off by some other dude in LA. That's it. That's what they are every single time. We get it. It's just radio hosts have been doing, radio DJs have been doing that shit since I was like fucking in high school, man. Like 10, how long have I been out of high school? Over 10 years. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. That shit, it's just kind of played out. I wish you'd go back. The Instagram shit I thought was way funnier. And because it's real. Those are real people. Like the misconnections, like half the time that shit's fake, you know? Like anyone can just go make some fake shit in the LA one and get it on the podcast. Go write some dumb shit for LA misconnections. Always, it has to be male for male, of course. Obviously, they all are. And you'll probably get it on there. Maybe put your Twitter questions as a question nested inside of a really fucked up misconnections post if you want to get on the podcast. But I don't know. Drop the misconnections. Bring back Instagram. It's way better. Oh, that's all, babies.
Hey, you're Travis, huh? And he said, nah, Ethan. Hey, man, just say yeah.